Thank you. I'm sorry I had to step out, but I'll certainly be briefed by my staff as to the issues that you've discussed. Mr. Ganji, as U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Texas, you have repeatedly criticized defendants who assaulted law enforcement officers. For example, you stated on multiple occasions that you employ a, quote, zero tolerance policy against these offenders, and you argued that individuals who attack law enforcement are, quote, attacking the American system of justice. Do you stand by your comments criticizing individuals who violently assault law enforcement?
Yes, Senator, I do.
Do you believe that the January 6 offenders who were convicted of assaults on law enforcement attacked the American system of justice?
Senator, I think that calls for me to
is your
make
microphone on?
yes, it is. I'm sorry, I'll move closer. Senator, I think that the question asks for me to wade into like a matter of public controversy and a political issue, and therefore I cannot offer.
Too hot to handle, huh?
I'm sorry?
Too hot to handle.
No, Senator, I think just as a judicial nominee, it would be imprudent, and I think the canons of judicial conduct would prohibit me from weighing in on political matters such as that and matters of public controversy such as that.
Mr. Falks, the most important criminal justice reform legislation in a generation was the First Step Act of 2018. I was proud to lead this and follow the real leader, Chairman Grassley. It was signed into law by President Trump during his first administration. First Step Act represented a bipartisan recognition that we can and must do better when it comes to our criminal justice system in order to make our communities safer for all Americans. We've made great strides in bolstering public safety through the mechanisms of the First Step Act. What are your thoughts on the First Step Act as a federal prosecutor, and what steps will you take as a judge if you're confirmed to ensure that you encourage rehabilitation whenever possible?
I think it's an important piece of legislation, as you stated, Ranking Member Durbin, and I appreciate the question. I think that the First Step Act takes into account certain factors that are so important to the justice system, and some of those factors are obviously located already in 18 U.S.C. 3553A, the history and characteristics of the defendant, their past conduct, the nature and circumstances of the offense, but I think it also takes into account the notion of rehabilitation. And in Western Arkansas, we have something called the Focus Court, which our office has worked closely with our judges in Western Arkansas to attempt to rehabilitate those individuals who've been convicted of nonviolent drug offenses and other nonviolent offenses, and to prepare them to re-enter society and to be valuable members of society. And so I think the First Step Act is an important part of that, signaling the importance of rehabilitation of some of the criminals in our justice system.
On another issue, related issue, the question of court orders. There seems to be some doubt and some questions have been raised as to whether or not the Trump administration follows the orders of a court in a prompt fashion and in a complete fashion. What do you consider to be the status of a court order if you issue a final order on the bench?
That any order that's issued by a federal district court carries with it great weight, and it carries with it an analysis of the statute, an analysis of the factors before the court, and I think that it should be given great weight and great deference. With regard to speaking on current public controversies, I'm simply constrained by the judicial canons, especially Canon 5, which prohibits, political speech and political conduct. But I would say my answer to your question is that the rulings of the court are inherently important to our justice system.
Mr. Ganji, ruling by the court on the executive branch members, is it required to be followed?
Senator, if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed as a judge, any order that I enter, I would expect the parties, regardless of who they are, to follow them.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes, Senator. If I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, I would expect that any order that I enter would be followed by the parties.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.